Hi, my name is Deb from DG Reads, and I'm here today with my furry delivery girl, Kylie, and we're here to do my September book haul. Bookmail was once again fantastic in September, and I have a lot of books to share with you. Didn't put a lot of organization into it, so let's just get into my gifted copies first, and then we'll look at what I spent money on this month. I apologize in advance if there's background noise. I'm trying to film in between construction happening next door, and I have no idea what their schedule is, so I'm just going for it and hoping for the best. So let's go ahead and get into it. So by far, the largest book I received this month was Final Cut by Charles Burns. This is a gifted copy from Pantheon, and it is a graphic novel with some really interesting art in it. I don't know much about this one, and there's no description on the actual outside. I remember thinking it sounded very intriguing, and that's all I can tell you at this stage, other than it seems like it'll be good for spooky season, and I will be reading it hopefully very soon. And then for a bit of nonfiction, I have The Paranormal Ranger and Navajo Investigators Search for the Unexplained by Stanley Milford Jr. This is a memoir documenting the author's investigations into paranormal and supernatural things, and it sounds really intriguing. And then I have The Ending Fire by Sarah L. Arifi, and this is the final book in the Ending Fire trilogy. I read book 1 and really enjoyed it. I'm hoping to get to book 2 this month, and am glad to have the final copy gifted from Del Rey and Random House so that I can jump right into book 3 once I've done so. And then I have The Trap by Ava Glass. This is a gifted copy from Bantam, and this is, I believe, book 3 in a series following Alias Emma. We're again following Emma in this one, and it is a race to stop the Russians from carrying out a high-profile assassination. And I really enjoyed book 1 in this series and have been wanting to continue on, so looking forward to that. And then another one from Bantam, I have Where They Last Saw Her by Marcy R. Rendon. And this is a story about a Native American woman who learns of the disappearance of one of her own and decides enough is enough. So it sounds like a mystery thriller. That was very intriguing. And then Under Her Spell by Kayla Sarah. This one also is from Bantam, and this is the author who wrote Such Pretty Flowers, which I enjoyed. So I was excited to get something new from them. And this story is following Liv, who has a near perfect life, but she has a darkness within herself, and she did something to break up her friendship in high school with Sam, and she gets a note saying, I need help. But when she goes to actually go back, make up to her friend what she did all those years ago, she's too late. So we'll look forward to that one. And then I have Rejection by Tony Tulathaimut, and this one is a story collection from William Morrow, and this one is interconnected stories. It's in the blurb called A Novel in Stories, so characters who are interconnected, and I always find it very intriguing how authors choose to make separate stories but also connected. And then I have Gonzalez and Daughter Trucking Co. by Maria Amparo Escadon, and this one is following a woman serving a prison sentence in Mexico, and apparently to pass the time she creates a literary club reading stories to fellow inmates, but there's something that is connecting these stories together or something along those lines. This one is a gifted copy from Three Rivers Press. And then a bit of nonfiction, I have The Times, How the Newspaper of Record Survived Scandal, Scorn, and the Transformation of Journalism by Adam Nagurny, and this one is focused on the New York Times, and I think the premise is kind of right there in the subtitle. But this is a gifted copy from Crown. And then I have A Dark and Drowning Tide by Alison Saff. This is a gifted copy from Del Rey. I don't know too much, but it says a sharp-tongued folklorist must pair up with her academic rival to solve their mentor's murder. So sounds like a good one. Dark academia, fall season, perfect timing. And then I received a copy of Haunt Sweet Home from Tor.com, and this is one by Sarah Pinsker, Author, who is an author I really enjoy. And I have actually already read this. I had an audio arc from them and I enjoyed this one. It's following a young woman who takes a job working on a television show where they go in to haunted houses, supposedly to film and do some renovation, but her job is kind of to fake the hauntings. So it was an interesting premise, and it's a quick little novella. And then I have The Disenchantment by Celia Bell. This is a gifted copy from Vintage, and this is set in 17th century Paris, and it sounds like it's a wife who, when her husband's away, goes out, engages in very forward-thinking discourse, it says, about the rights of women and a romance with another woman, it sounds like. So intrigued by this. And then back with some more nonfiction, prepping for Nonfiction November. I've got Trash Talk, an eye-opening exploration of our planet's dirtiest problem by Iris Gottlieb. And this one is, I think, right there in the title. It says, Uncover the Hidden Secrets of Our Trashy World. And this is a gifted copy from Tartar Peregrine. And then from Hogarth, I received A Sunny Place for Shady People. This is by Mariana Enrique, and this is an author I've been wanting to read. I actually have at least one of her books here on my shelves, and this is a collection of short stories, and it sounds like it'll be perfect for spooky season. And then I have Disclaimer by Renee Knight. This is a gift from Harper, and the tagline says, Imagine if the next thriller you read was all about you. And we're following a documentary filmmaker named Catherine who mysteriously receives a book at her door, and as she's reading it she realizes it's a book about her own terrible secret. So I always enjoy kind of bookish books, bookish thrillers, so this one has me highly intrigued. And then I have The Volcano Daughters by Gina Maria Balabrer, and this is a gifted copy from Pantheon, and this one says it is a searingly original debut about two sisters and their flight from genocide, which takes them from Hollywood to Paris to San Francisco's Cannery Row, each haunted along the way by the ghosts of their murdered friends who are not yet done telling their stories. And then I received an advance copy of Memorials by Richard Chismar, and this one comes out on October 22nd, at least according to what the cover of this one says. I will hopefully be getting to this very soon since that date is quickly approaching, but this one says, a group of students encounter a supernatural terror while on a road trip through Appalachia in this new novel. So another one that's perfect for spooky season. And then I received a copy of Here One Moment by Leanne Moriarty, and this one is a gifted copy from Crown. There's a flight with a slight delay, and there's a woman on board who becomes known as the Death Lady, and she tells everyone on board when they're gonna die, whether it be years and years and years from now or whether it be in the near future, and this changes everyone's trajectory. And this is one I've been super excited for, so I was thrilled to pick it up at UPS yesterday. And then last but certainly not least, I have Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. This one is a gifted copy from Flatiron Books, and it comes out in January, I believe, January 14th. I really don't know anything about this one, but I've had good success quite often with Alice Feeney in the past, so I'm excited for this. It says she returns with a gripping and deliciously dark thriller about marriage and revenge. Love a good revenge story, so that has me excited. Okay, that's it for my gifted books. Now let's get to the ones that I purchased this month. Okay, starting with book of the month, I had a pretty full box this month. I picked up Sleep Tight by J.H. Marker, and this was one I picked up because it's an author that I've been wanting to try, and the premise of this one sounded really good. Years ago, there was a man called Father Silence, and he kidnapped and killed a bunch of kids. There was one survivor, and the main character of the book is the daughter of the man who captured him. And at the beginning of the book, Father Silence is being executed, but it doesn't bring the closure everyone expects. It launches a whole new crime spree and investigation. And then I have Someone in the Attic by Andrea Mara. This one kind of says it all in the title. We've got a woman at home when someone comes out of the attic and kills her. Across town, a friend of hers sees a video of someone coming out of her own attic. That's all I know. Sounds creepy. Definitely one to read, I think, late at night with the lights off. And then Hum by Helen Phillips. This was one of the older selections I went ahead and added on in thinking it might work with one of my blog plants in some distant future, but this is set in a, sounds like not too futuristic world where AI has taken over a lot of the job market, and we're following a woman who undergoes a procedure to render herself undetectable to surveillance, but at what cost? Sounded interesting, so I added it on. I picked up We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver, and this one actually showed up at my door from a Barnes & Noble order, and I immediately read it. So that rarely happens. Figured I'd throw it in there. But this is following a woman who, with her partner, is flipping a house when she's home alone, and a man and his family show up at the door saying they used to live in this house. Will she let them in to look around? And for some reason, she decides to go ahead with that, and things go very badly from there and very weirdly from there. And I really enjoyed this one. It's a very immersive book, and I will have a review up for it on my Bookstagram relatively soon. And then in my fairy loot box, I received The Girl with No Reflection by Kesh Chow, and this is, of course, a stunning edition, because all of theirs are. I don't know about this one, but it is following a princess who believed in love, but she's been chosen to wed the prince even though he's very cold. She's pretty much trapped away with only her reflection, and she begins to see strange things in the mirror, and then she gets pulled into a portal world of some sort, maybe? Or an alternate world? I don't know. And then also from Fairy Loot, I received Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan, and this one's a little less pretty, a little more edgy, but still a stunning edition. I love those bright edges on this. And a story for anyone who's ever fallen for the villain. And the synopsis starts with, when her whole life collapsed, Ray still had books. Dying, she seizes a second chance at living, a magical bargain that lets her enter the world of her favorite fantasy series. So, very intrigued by that. And then, still also from Fairy Loot, I picked up Hearts That Cut by Higa Hatsopoulou, and this is the sequel to Threads That Bind. Have I read Threads That Bind? No, but I have hopes that I will really enjoy it, and this edition was so stunning that I couldn't miss the chance to pick it up while I had the opportunity. So I don't really want to look too heavily at the synopsis in case it spoils anything from the original book, but eventually I will hopefully be reading the original and this one. And then while we're on a roll with Fairy Loot, might as well throw in one more, and I picked up a copy of When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker because I loved the book. This was originally self-pubbed, and I read it at that point and really loved it, and it's been since traditionally picked up with lots of stunning editions out there, but I couldn't resist the dragon edge on this one, and it's just so pretty, and dragon, and the naked hardcover. This was just such a unique world building in this story, and the way dragons are incorporated into the world, and I just had a fantastic time reading it. And then moving on from Fairy Loot, I've just received Evil in Me by Brom, and this is one I pre-ordered knowing really nothing about it other than that cover definitely drew my attention, and Brom is an author I've really been wanting to try, so I picked this up. The back says, from USA Today, best-selling author Brom comes a novel of possession, damnation, and rock and roll, where one woman must get the world singing in order to save her soul. And I've been doing some Pango ordering. I sell most of my books on Pango, and therefore I've had some bucks to spend there, and I've been doing some ordering. So I picked up Jawbone by Monica Ojeda, and this is a book that I picked up specifically for a reading challenge that you'll be seeing my TBR for soon. The blurb on this one just says, Fernanda and Annalise are so close they are practically sisters, a double image, inseparable. So how does Fernanda end up bound on the floor of a deserted cabin, held hostage by one of her teachers and estranged from Annalise? So this is definitely in my near reading future. And then because it just sounded interesting, I picked up Black Tide by Casey Jones, and this is a dystopian, it sounds like. It says, it was just another day at the beach, then the world ended. So I I saw this on a few Reddit lists of book recommendations when I was researching for other things. I didn't wind up using this, I don't think, for any of my challenges, but it still wound up on my TBR. And then a random pickup because I had reached a threshold to get a discount on books from a particular seller, and I picked up Rosemary and Rue by Sean M. McGuire. I have really loved quite a few things this author has written before, so this is a series I know nothing about, but it is the first October Day novel, and I've been wanting to try to pick up any more of their writing just to give it a try. And then this one will sound familiar but look very different because from Illumicrate I got a copy of A Dark and Drowning Tide by Allison Saft. I also received the copy from the publisher that we talked about earlier, but this is the, of course, special edition with all the pretty things and dragon on the inside and kind of the original cover on the naked hardcover. And this one actually has the author signature and a letter from the author inside as well. And then another Pango order, I picked up Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. This is one that's been on my radar for a while to try, and it was another one that was in one of the shops that I was ordering from anyway. As I understand it, an best-selling author is invited to spend Halloween night in a haunted house, and it seemed like this would be a good one to pick up for Halloween season. And in my Nightworm subscription this month, I got Through the Midnight Door by Katrina Monroe. This is an author I've enjoyed in the past. We're following sisters who like to explore abandoned homes until they stumble into one that is bigger on the inside than the outside. Lots of extra halls and doors and keys and horrors inside. And now years later, one of the sisters is found dead in the house, and the other two sisters are trying to bring together their own haunted memories and their relationship, and looking forward to trying that. And then also from Nightworms, I received Crypt of the Moon Spider by Nathan Bellengrud, and this is set on the moon. A home for melancholia has been built there over where a giant spider used to live, or maybe still lives. I don't know. It's very intriguing, and this is one I'm hoping to get to in October, especially since it's so short. And then one I randomly picked up because I saw it on discount was Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, and this one is an author that I've read from before and really enjoyed, and I've heard pretty good things about this one, I think. This is following Clara, who is an artificial friend, and I don't know much beyond that other than it intrigues me. And then one I picked up again because I was shopping from this Pango shop anyway and had a discount. I picked up Dark Shores by Danielle L. Jensen, and this is an author that I have enjoyed and I've heard a lot of good things about. I don't think I've heard anything about this particular book or series, but it sounds interesting to me. A sailor with a will of iron, a soldier with a secret, a dangerous quest. So, and then I've got two more that I will admit were pretty much cover or edition buys. This is The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen, and the sprayed edge on this one sucked me in, as is often the case with Red Tower books, but the premise of this one also sounded interesting. It says, the gods love to play with us mere mortals, and every 100 years we let them. It sounds like it's got competition elements. It's got Zeus and Hades and Olympus, but also San Francisco is mentioned. So I'm intrigued. And the artwork on this is very pretty, as well as the cover. It says, she'll fight for her life for the god of death. Okay, and last but not least, I've got Repeat After Me by Jessica Warman. And this one, again, is a very nice edition. It's an entangled book edition. No end papers, but we've got, I like the bright pink and the foiling on here. It sounds like an interesting story. It sounds very quirky, and there's a caution. Consuming a telepathic sea creature of unknown origin may result in immortality, no consequences to any actions, and getting stuck in a time loop for all of eternity. If I'm remembering correctly, it's a YA time loop type story. Sounds interesting, and quite frankly, the edition was just too pretty, and the premise sounded interesting. That's a lot about, you can't even see the top of that stack. And the books I actually purchased this month outweigh the ones I was gifted, which is great. I like supporting books. Not sure my credit cards agree, but it's okay. I have a lot to be really, really excited about here. I would love any help that you might have for me in terms of where I should start on any of these stacks. Are there any here you're particularly interested in terms of getting a book review from me? Are there any in here you've read already and loved and think I should pick up? Let me know all the things down below. And if you've made it this far and you don't have anything to comment, how about you leave me an octopus emoji for the book that you can't even see up there at the top of the stack? I would really appreciate it if you could hit the like button below if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you'd be interested in more of Kylie costumes, more of my bookish content, more of my thoughts on these books. But for now, I'll go ahead and leave you here and catch you real soon in a new video.